going to be a bumpy night.
What's going on, guys? This is the Laugh Bunker podcast. My name is Josh. Paul, good to see you. This is episode 2. It is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. I don't think you're a Star Wars fan. Are you a Star Wars fan? No?
Well, yeah, I saw the film in high school when it came out in the summer. So, yeah, I think it was 1977.
Yeah.
It came out. So I was a sophomore in high school. Not doing much in those days.
Good. That's cool.
But yeah, it was phenomenal. I mean, we probably saw it for a couple bucks.
Yeah. No.
It probably saw it, 4 or 5 times. I saw the first one as a sophomore, and then I was a junior in college. Was the last one the Jedi?
Yeah, last one was Jedi. Yeah.
Where Harrison Ford's in the metal, right?
Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah. That was the first one I saw. That was more closer to my early childhood years. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little turned off by Carrie Fisher and the outfit with Jabba the Hutt. The whole fantasies of the 2 years before were all gone, dude. It's disturbing right now thinking about it.
Yeah. A funny thing is, that was the first movie I saw. I have 2 brothers, but I have a very younger brother. I think we talked about this in the last one. It was the first one that I introduced to him. Because I felt like it stuck with me as a child, that last one. So maybe it'll work for him, and it did. It worked for him. He became like a fan, and he loves them, but he doesn't watch them religiously or anything like that. But he loves the franchise. And then I have my son now, and he's 1.5, maybe coming close to 1.5. And it's one of his top 5 movies.
Is that child abuse?
Yeah. Yeah. No, my kid.
I don't want to get creeped out. I am not coming to your house now.
My kid's got a weird taste. He doesn't. We try to put on some kind of cartoons to keep him entertained or whatever. Does not pay attention to anything aside from, let's say, Toy Story, Return of the Jedi. You have Howling. Have you seen the Howling series? It's like a low budget horror movie series.
Is that the
werewolf? Yes. So he loves part 5. He care less about any of the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And horror movies are playing religiously over here at the house. I have Sleepaway Camp 2. He loves, loves. Like, and I'm talking about, this is from a 1-year-old. He will, you can't keep him away. He'll walk around and trip over something because he's so focused on the TV screen. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But
no, I understand. When I watch TV or film, and even in our living room, sometimes I'm like, don't talk. I'm like totally sucked in. I can't even have a conversation. I get it absorbed.
Yeah. So back to Star Wars though, but that he loves that movie. So it worked. So I figured that was my favorite film as a kid. That was my first experience. I think because it had the most creatures. It was kind of like the more fast paced out of the 3. So I think that's why. But,
first, Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this out there for you to watch and for everybody else. There's a documentary, or there was one on Netflix about Brian De Palma.
Yes, I seen that one. We talked about that one time on our own. Yeah,
and it's just there's a picture at the table, and it's Scorsese, Coppola, Lucas, Spielberg, Cassavetes, De Palma, and when you look at the body of the work and how they wrote each other's movies the whole time, and the power. Look at the stuff that came out of that.
Yeah,
they're on a beach resting after. So they're on a beach resting after Star Wars, drinking, and Lucas tells Spielberg about the Indiana Jones idea. So. When Coppola was filming Apocalypse Now, Lucas was out there, and Coppola made Lucas get up 2 hours early before the set to write American Graffiti. So when you look at the work,
it's crazy.
And De Palma was offered Taxi Driver first.
Yeah.
He said no, and he gave it to Scorsese, and De Palma said, use this guy. De Niro. He's been in a lot of my short films in college, and so it's just a fascinating how everything really ties together. How small Hollywood really is.
It is, and I hear it a lot in the comedy world and comedic actors. A lot of them will live in the same apartment building. I just said Jonah Hill lives next to Seth Rogen, roommated with so and so. David Spade with Adam Sandler, with Judd Apatow. You can see in the movie we talked about Adam Sandler in the last podcast.
The Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. So in Funny People, you had Adam Sandler and Judd Apatow in the beginning showing home movies of them crank calling people. So it's Judd Apatow, Adam Sandler, and Janine Garofalo.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember her.
All three of them in the in the apartment building, crank calling people, and that's
Really?
that's the beginning of the movie, and they're home videos, they're real videos, and it's like
that.
Yeah.
Well, it's. I mean, those are. I mean,
it just shows you how small Hollywood is. People.
Well, yeah, and we had the comedians there, and then we had Robert Duvall, James Caan, Gene Hackman, and Dustin Hoffman living in an apartment.
Yeah.
So it's been a very interesting.
It blows your mind, and not even just in the rock world. Like remember in the movie Walk the Line, where you have Johnny Cash, you have Jerry Lewis, you have Elvis, you have all these guys. Like if you didn't know about Johnny Cash and all them before, and you just got introduced with this movie, it blows your mind to know that they all just toured with each other in a car. You know what I mean? Like in a 4-seater, 5-seater car. It's crazy.
Well, especially from starting.
Yeah.
And really, it's interesting because of our age difference. But I grew up with my parents having Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Albums, the Man in Black, the Protest album, and then you go ahead and he gets huge on MTV with a whole other crown. He did that American 4 album where he did covers of. I know he did Trent Reznor's Nailed, some phenomenal work, and he just crossed all generation, and he partied through every generation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, But yeah, definitely, just very powerful, very powerful, and how everybody's back in the old days. Look at now because of the digital world, people go in the studios, they do albums, everything's on YouTube, everything is streamed. Yeah. In the old days, these guys, look, the greatest bands in the world lived in a van.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't have a hotel to stay at.
And we talked about Almost Famous just a little while ago. Like it's like that's a great movie to show kind of the rock touring world, and that was one of the best rock and roll movies in your opinion. Also,
love it.
Yeah,
love it. And like we always talk about film, it touches us. But when you look at, and we'll be talking about Frances McDormand in a little bit, but it is, I think it's the perfect film.
Yeah. I love it.
I still feel the same in certain different moments when he's on the drugs on the roof. I mean, everybody is just great. And, Cameron Crowe, he nailed that.
Yeah.
Do you know what he wrote first that was a big hit? Fast Time at Ridgemont High.
Nice.
He wrote the book, and the lady picked it up and directed it. And then he did the movie with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Show Me the Money. I can't think of it offhand right now.
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
So that guy's done a lot of good work, and I think that's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a movie. I always ask people, and you've heard me say this a million times.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie? And people go, oh, I don't know, and I can't say exactly. It's where am I emotionally at?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
What am I feeling at this time? I don't know. It changes up. It changes up.
But there's always movies you stop. And that's just what I always say. What do you stop at when you're clicking?
Yeah, Almost Famous.
Almost Famous, I would always stop.
Yeah,
and we've always talked about our other loves and whatever.
Yeah.
So,
for the listeners, if you're hearing any type of cricket or chirping sound, we try to find it. We can't find it. If it annoys you, I apologize. We're trying to fix this in post, but it is what it is.
Well, I'm going to have to be honest with you. I got this weird thing with crickets, and
Yeah.
I torture them. And I've got my house is actually like a serial killer house. I got them in rooms, and they shirk a little bit, but
Yeah.
don't worry. And next time I'll take care of them, and they won't make the noise again. And I
Yeah.
warned them earlier, but
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No, my wife's always like, don't kill it, don't kill it. You know, like they have super old superstition where can't kill a cricket because it's bad luck and
No,
whatever it is. No.
no, I only kill people now.
Yeah, yeah. I know. It doesn't apply to people, I guess. I know.
No, okay, good.
But
Go
I
ahead, sir.
I figured once you pass the line of coming into the house, it's fair game. You came into my territory. I'm not gonna kill you while you're outside in your territory. Like I'm gonna leave you alone. But you come into the house, it's fair game. It is what it is. I don't know.
It's a carry rule.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what have you been watching lately? I mean, we last talked last Monday. Any films? We're definitely going to be talking about a film this week. We're going to give it to the fans in just a little bit of what we're going to talk about this week. But anything you've been watching aside from, I'm going to say it, The Big Lebowski. We're going to talk about The Big Lebowski this episode. But anything else that has crossed your path in the last week or so?
Well, I mean, I'm still watching a lot of the Last Dance about Michael Jordan.
Nice.
And then the follow-up Bad Boys, and then the follow-up Michael and Irvin 30 by 30. Though Bad Boys and the Michael and Irvin are 30 and 30. And it's just it's a spectacular time. You know, it was the 80s for me, early 90s. I had just gotten married. I had a great job. We were in Chicago.
Yeah.
It was before all the gentrification. It was, we were in the old stadium.
Yeah.
And it just meant, and being from Detroit, the Bad Boys, and you're going into this hostility. I mean, the only thing more threatening is to be a St. Louis fan and go at Wrigley Field to see the Cubs.
Yeah.
Or anybody playing the Bears. You go to the stadium and you wear another jersey, you are actually have a chance to get hurt. Or at least back in the old days.
It still happens over here at Dodger Stadium. You hear about these poor souls that come over to Dodger Stadium and then they get into fights in the parking lot on the way out. And you're the only person in almost the entire stadium wearing the opposing team's jersey. I mean it's going to...
Well, but somebody was wearing... someone was paralyzed or put in a or something a couple years ago, right? Yeah,
they were put into a coma, or I'm not sure if they recovered or not. But yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Sporting events can get pretty dangerous, especially when there's alcohol involved. You got alcohol, you got packs of people all rallying together, and then you see somebody alone from the opposing team. Words are exchanged, fists are exchanged. It could get bad really quick over there. Yeah.
So, do you remember? I mean, when did you know about Michael Jordan? Did you follow basketball growing up?
I didn't follow it religiously. I was just casual watcher whenever it was on at home, and I grew up around big families most of my life, so it was the games were usually on. I knew about Michael Jordan, of course. Everybody knew about Michael Jordan. I was a fan of his, but I think I was more so a fan of. At the time, I think when Shaq and the Orlando Magic blew up on the scene, that whole...
So you were born in 85.
Yeah,
right?
I was born in 85. So
Okay,
I think for me, that really captured my attention. I always knew about Mike. Always was fascinated with Mike and watched the games. And I remember seeing a lot of the games. I remember his time. At least,
What about the shoes and merchandise? You probably saw it when you were growing up.
Yeah, but I wasn't really into it. I wasn't really like a big shoe guy or a big, I honestly, the only time I really collected any kind of sports memorabilia when it came to basketball was for Shaq. I think I was more of like when Shaq burst on the scene, and he went to Orlando and Penny Hardaway and that whole thing. I know there's a 30 for 30 on them. That was the time that I remember the most, because that was the time of like... And you actually see in the beginning of this opening credit scenes for our podcast, it cuts to an image of me wearing a Shaq hat and a Shaq jersey, and I'm like 10 years old. So yeah, it was around that time. I think I was more. I remember having a post, like a calendar, and like rookie cards. I still have all my rookie cards for him. And I have his LSU rookie card. I have all that stuff. So I don't know. I was more of just a Shaq fan for whatever reason, but at the time,
Well, I mean, time era.
yeah,
Plus
era,
expanding digital era.
yeah. So
Makes sense.
that was like mid '90s, right? When was Shaq early years? When was his early years? Early to mid '90s, right?
You know what? After the Pistons left,
Yeah.
after they bowed out, I really didn't. I kind of was not watching. I was really. Truth is, those were the climbing years, and so my life was pretty much adjusted. I was always been a football fan, of course. College before moving to Chicago in '85, but Chicago in the '80s was just incredible. The food. We could get 2 Polish sausages, a bag of fries, and a Coke for $2.90.
That's you can't get that you can't get anything like that at any of these fast food places like that.
I mean, we live in LA. It's ridiculous, but it's funny because one time I was going into this restaurant and the doctor called and said, "Hey man, your cholesterol's like 283 and the bad's horrible. We got to put you on medicine." But I didn't want to go on medicine because it affects your joints. It affects it's hard on your body. And I said, "Okay, can I change my diet?" And he said, "You'd have to have a religious experience to lower your cholesterol." So that being said, it was a good time. But
were you eating that way when you were bodybuilding? When you were super into fitness? You
know what? I've always been into fitness.
Yeah.
But I didn't eat healthy till I moved to California. I mean, I never sacrifice nutrition. Okay. So in other words, I always got my protein.
Yeah.
I always, tried to have good carbs. I ate the crap and drank the crap on top. And when I moved to California, I got serious about watching my diet. And I'm going to be 58, but when I was 55 or 4, I had a full 6-pack. And so a philosophy that I've kind of learned is it's an algorithm.
Yeah.
But my cholesterol dropped over 100 points in California.
Once you moved here, and that's when then.
So it's been about 12 years. So when I went to the doctor, of course, in this quarantine, it's over 10,000. But I went to the doctor and he said, "What the hell are you doing?" He said, "Are you buying medicine online?" I said, "No, I'm not going to Uptown." And he said, "Well, what the hell is Uptown?"
Yeah.
Uptown was this greasy spoon 2 blocks from where I lived on the north side of Chicago. It's run by Greek guys. It's your prototypical John Belushi cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And I would come home from work and I would get a slice sausage pizza. I'd get a fried Polish with fries and a chocolate malt. And that's what I ate every night. But because I'm a physically active person, I keep it off.
You're able to burn it off.
So now the key is I don't eat or drink 2 days in a row, ever.
Okay.
So yesterday I had 2 hot dogs from the freezer. They were Chicago hot dogs, and I found them, and I wanted to protect my family.
Is it
eating them?
Eat or drink like bad food 2 days in a row?
Bad or no alcohol 2 days in a row.
Okay.
And that puts you up on the algorithm of 4 days good. And at the end of the year, look how that adds up. Yeah. But also, my workout is work capacity.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't stop. And when I was at work, I walked 7 to 9 miles a day.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't bullshitting in the lobby, I just kept moving. So all those calories or whatever. But there's no doubt that nutrition is the key. It's more important than I imagined.
And that's what they say about this the COVID thing that's going on right now is that if the healthy people that maintain and take care of themselves have a better chance at least of fighting this off. Now you got sick over the weekend. Now we kind of determined that it wasn't probably COVID or anything like that.
No, it was pizzeria.
Yeah, it was pizzeria. It was a Subway foot-long meat lovers that got you.
I can't say for sure that it was that, but I thought I saw the lady licking, but I didn't know. It was, now who knows what it was, but Hey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone to Mexico?
Yeah.
You ever get sick down there?
Not that I recall. No, I've only been sick up here.
Okay.
I got sick at Arby's one time. I remember
Mm.
that. And then I got sick. When did I get sick? I think there was I ate a steak and it just didn't sit well, and I lost like 4 pounds that weekend. It was
Man, one time.
it came out of like every hole.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. One time we used to go climb the volcanoes in
Uh-huh.
Mexico City. So we had done Popo and Ixta, so we had been out in the outdoors for a
Yeah.
while, and we got back to Mexico City, and there were all these ice cream vendors on the streets, right? And it was like a cone. It was like a
Yeah.
cone for a peso or something. And the lifting partner Dave, he said, "No, man, you're going to get sick." I said, "Man, come on, it's ice cream,
Yeah.
man. I eat like I work out.
Yeah.
I also drink like I work out too at times. And I must have had 10, 12, 15 of those little ice cream cones.
Mhm.
And dude, I was so messed up that the truth is my stomach has never been the same since that trip. Never. And I
What did it do? Did you
got a bacteria.
uh-huh.
So because I had to travel home, I took tons of that cement.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's, you know what I mean?
Plug up the holes?
The Imodium type of
Uh-huh.
stuff. So I ate tons of that, and when I got back, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And when I went to the doctor, he said that was the worst thing because it encapsulated the bacteria.
Mm.
And it took. But the truth is, you know what? If I got this once or twice a month, I have a 6-pack. So the payoff is it's a hell of a workout.
Yeah.
You're doing squats. You're getting ab workout throwing up, and you're losing that fluid between the skin and muscle, so you look like $1 million.
Yeah. I felt good after last time I got food poisoning. I felt pretty good. I was like, yeah, I felt going back to work in my suit. I felt like lighter. I felt ready. I was like,
Like I said, it's the best thing that can happen to you.
yeah, it's a Hollywood diet. Yeah,
In one way, one way.
Yeah. So
So I'm watching the MJ. What are you watching?
So I watched. Obviously, I rewatched The Big Lebowski for this podcast just to get a refresher. I hadn't seen it for the longest, so it was almost like watching it for the first time again. So we're going to talk about that right now. I actually saw The Lighthouse. I finished that over the weekend. Last time we spoke,
William Dafoe.
And yeah, Robert Pattinson. All shot in black and white. Two guys in the.
Was it shot in black and white, or did they do that in the post?
I don't know. I didn't look into it.
Because there's a difference look in that. If you'll notice it in the old black and white films. Well, this might not have been shot on film or digital. Who knows? But there's sometimes the black looks like velvet. Does that make sense? The black has like a 3D feel. It's so gorgeous.
I would say this probably in post. It was probably done in post. If I was to guess.
Who's the director in that?
Have you ever seen the horror movie The Witch with actress
like the 1700s?
Yeah,
with the little girl. Yes, same guy.
Same guy. Same director, same writer, directors. This is like one of their follow-ups.
Well, on my list to watch.
Yeah.
In fact, this week, the truth is.
Now, it's one of those movies that there's a lot of moments that are just really takes you by surprise, really surprising. I don't want to give too much away. I'm not going to get too deep into it. Two guys, late 1800s. They're in charge of working at a lighthouse. Willem Dafoe is the veteran that basically lives there. Robert Pattinson's a new guy that comes in. I guess Willem Dafoe has he's got an ever-changing roster of people that just come in and out. You know what I mean? The guys just do their time and they get out, but he's the lifer. He kind of talks like a pirate. He's got like this pirate speak about him.
Where's the location?
I believe it's in like England, but they don't really give the location. They don't really give a lot of details.
No accent.
Robert Pattinson has like a almost like a Boston type of like an accent. Northeastern accent. His character is supposedly spent some time in Canada. Is kind of like a drifter almost. but Willem Dafoe has this. He basically he was like sailing with Davy Jones type of like way of talking. Great performances. It's just the two of them sometimes with a candle in the room, just lit, and they go off on each other, and it's just a great movie. It's got some really cool moments. It got some really trippy, weird kind of scenes.
Question for you:
Yeah,
is it a drama? Is it a thriller? What is it?
I say it's a thriller.
Okay,
it's very suspenseful. The music
seemed like the trailer gave this feel creepy.
It's creepy. It's creepy and it's weird, and you don't know what to make of it. And a lot of it, I think, is left up for interpretation. I'll just give you that. It's one of those.
Hey, when you grew up,
yeah,
so when you're a kid and you have concept of monsters and scary things, when you went to bed, did you have to close the closet door? Because you know that's where Satan lives, right? When you're a kid.
I would say yes.
Under the bed too. It's not just there. He gets two places.
Sad thing is, I probably still do it. I don't know. Make sure everything's closed. Everything's put. The doors are locked. I make sure everything's like before I go to bed. I'm the last one to check everything's good.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because he's in there and he'll kill you.
I don't want him coming out. Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
I don't know what that is. Aren't you paralyzed when you're asleep?
But it's like if your body's asleep, but your mind's awake and you're conscious.
Okay, what did you just say again? Say it again.
It's like your body's asleep. You can't move. You're almost in this dream.
Okay.
Awake state. It's like you're in that in between. Your eyes are open. You can see. You can see. Look around you, but you cannot move. You're almost like stuck in that dream state. It's weird.
Oh, I have the opposite, where the brain is dead and the body's moving, and I have that all the time, and it's very peaceful. In fact, maybe that's not the cricket. That's just the tone in the back of my head we're hearing. You know, it's like the wind's going around. I'll put cotton in my ears next time. We won't have that.
Yeah.
But I don't really dream anymore.
I don't remember my dreams. I know.
I know we all dream. Every once in a while, I've had some phenomenal. I mean, as a kid, I guess everyone as a kid, because you're growing, has dreams. But I never had it, and this is the perfect lead into the Big Lebowski because some of those dream sequences are just. I mean, where do you start with this movie?
There's that whole dance number.
Well, everything. I mean, okay.
Well, so let's cut to a little scene because we're going to show these people like a quick little snippet, a little trailer, part of the trailer, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Wait. Let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. You know, that or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Are you employed, Mr. Lebowski?
Employed? What the hell is this?
My dirty undies, dude. The white.
Let's take that hill!
Why should we settle for 20 grand when we can keep the entire $1 million?
I know you're mixed up in all this.
And so talk about the dream sequences in this movie. You have one of the most popular. I mean, for me, one of the most memorable ones, obviously, is of him in the dance number. He's on the staircase. You got the dancers with the costumes, and you go in
with Julian Moore.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago. Well, yeah, because he was on one of the night shows. They all run together for me now, to be honest with you. But the day they shot that scene, his wife and daughter had visited the set. We're on set when he's going through on the bowling alley. The film, first of all, the Coen brothers, their imprint on American film is greater than people really realize.
Yeah.
And this film was not. We saw it in the theater, my wife and I, and it wasn't a big critical success. A little bit, but right now they have a yearly big Lebowski festival in Kentucky.
Yeah,
every year, and it's just grown. I mean, the dude abides is everywhere. The cast. Well, first, directed by Joel Coen, written by Ethan Coen, though they both write together.
Mm-hmm.
They both direct together, produced by both of them.
Both of them. Uh-huh.
Edited by them. They use a different name, Roderick James. Steven Soderbergh also edits all his films and shoots all his films under another name. And I can understand that because these are auteurs.
Yeah.
And even though the small short films I've done and sat with editors for my own projects, you get so hands-on.
I didn't even know you could do that. I'm sure they work with somebody, right? Or are they in the room, or is it just them locked away in their studio? What do you think?
Okay, Joel Cohen got to the industry working for Sam Raimi on The Evil Dead, the famous movie.
Yeah.
He helped the editor. So if he's helping that editor back in the 70s, it's probably brought through. And Sam, and they also, Ethan and Joel worked on a horror movie with Sam Raimi. They wrote for Sam Raimi a film, and that was their. A lot of guys came in through Roger Corman. Have you heard of the Roger Corman?
I've heard of Roger Corman.
Everybody did crappy movies under him. Well, Sam Raimi has been the big whore and has brought tons of people in. But Joel Cohen, he went to NYU film school, and Ethan went to Princeton. So we're talking about some pretty smart people here.
Yeah.
And, their work is great. My wife and I got involved in their watching their films with Blood Simple, which that was the year that Frances McDormand married Joel Cohen.
Which is a fact that maybe some people don't even know, is that she's married to Joel Cohen. Yeah.
She got an Oscar for Fargo.
Yeah.
But who shot The Big Lebowski, I want to give a heads up because the look of all these people's films is incredible.
It is.
Roger Deakins. Now, Roger Deakins, who just got the Oscar for 1917, then 2 years ago or whatever, got it for Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
He shot stinking Bond movie. He shot Shawshank Redemption. So,
the guys know what he's doing. The guy's got some good work on there.
Well, he's one of the guys. He carries it. Clyde Drexler was another one in the old days that was the big guy. This Deakins comes in. He has shot 12 of the Coen brother movies. Now, you think you get a chemistry working with someone? This movie is great. Jeff Bridges, Goodman, Julian Moore, John Turturro, Steve Buscemi, the dude abides. This roll scene, the connection to all these people. John Goodman was in Raising Arizona.
I love that movie. It's a great movie.
And Old Brother, We're Out Thou. Jeff Bridges in True Grit. Jeff Bridges just emphasized who doesn't want to go hang out with this guy? Yeah.
And not to mention a young Philip Seymour Hoffman in the film.
Exactly.
Who plays the assistant to Mr. Big Lebowski. Yes.
And the nihilist.
Yeah.
Unger, the porn star with Bunny.
Yeah.
He is the killer in Fargo.
Yeah. And one of the big time character actors of that late 90s, 2000s era. He was in everything. You have young Tara Reid playing Bunny. It's a Sam Elliott who narrates the film. Everybody loves Sam Elliott. Such a great actor, such a talented actor right there. Tombstone, everything.
Best mustache in the history.
Best mustache in the game.
In the game, even who doesn't want to have one of those? I don't really want one now, but so
I don't know what's more impressive, his mustache or his voice. He's got that powerful mustache and the voice to go along with it, and the eyebrows. He's just like the way he stares at you. Yeah.
Actors, they either have big eyes, great voices, but think of all the great voices. And when you look at the Coen brothers' work, and you just can't talk about The Big Lebowski because everything feeds in. Double Oscar winners.
Yeah.
They do everything. Yeah. And No Country for Old Men is also, that's one of my movies I stop at. And
definitely.
You know who Roger Ebert is, right? The famous film critic.
Yeah.
Pulitzer Prize winning. He said the scene in No Country Old Men at the gas station between Anton Chigurh, played by Harvey and Bardem, and the old guy, might
So
be one of the top scenes in the history of film.
yeah,
I mean, we are so creeped out watching that because we know what's going on,
yeah.
and he's choking on the peanuts. I mean, what time do you close? Oh, about now. Well, what time's that? I mean, to me, that film is another one of their great films. Also,
And that's a classic that a lot of people consider, especially an article that we both read, where that's really one of the top movies of the decade. Is No Country for Old Men, and you could put that in a top 10 anywhere because that movie is just amazing. And it's one of the movies that I think is less like a Coen style. They went out of their style into
correct.
for that movie, and but I mean, they're just the work of genius in that movie, especially. And Big Lebowski, yeah, it wasn't a big commercial success, wasn't a big budget either, but had a great cast, and it developed this cult following that has lasted up until now.
The shirts are when your shirt is hanging on Venice Beach Boulevard on the boardwalk, you're pretty much a cultural icon. And the Dude and John Goodman, and did you know that Steve Buscemi played Buddy Holly in Pulp Fiction at that restaurant?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But
I love Steve Buscemi. I love because Steve Buscemi was an actor that was in a lot of comedies around that time, especially a lot of the Sandler comedies around that time. He was always in his films, and Billy Madison, where he's a guy that shoots the guy in the butt at the end. He's one of the guys that crosses Adam Sandler off his list of people to kill. I don't know. Just Steve Buscemi is great, man. He's just so hard.
He's great. This is a different role for him.
Yeah.
I mean, comparatively to the role in Fargo or Hudsucker Proxy and the other movies, but definitely the Coen brothers know what they want.
Yeah.
They've used the same people over and over again. And did you see their film, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou"?
Yes.
It's
George
the one
Clooney.
it's the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think George Clooney just kills that. I think as a comedic actor, George Clooney's better comedic than he is straight. My personal feeling
I think
only.
so too.
I think he's too fun of a guy not to be the fun guy.
Yeah.
And a fun guy, not like not a fungus, but a fun guy. But the film, the music, and John Turturro, that guy is another one. Jesus Rolls. I mean, that scene is just incredible.
And they're looking to develop something for his character.
No, I think it's already gone.
It's
but
already gone.
The Coen brothers don't have anything to do with it. They're separate of this. And so I think it's a great. I love it, and I myself have gone through it 2 or 3 times, and it's. I mean, really, one of my favorite ones is when he's thrown into the limousine to talk to the Lebowski and Seymour Hoffman, and he's got the Manhattan. He goes, "There's a drink in hand," and he's like, "Shit's come to light, man. Stop, don't, just that conversation." Yeah. I'm the dude. You're the Lebowski or the duder, I mean, every scene is just killer in it.
Yeah.
And
so just a backstory for this film. Yes, Jeff Bridges is Jeff, the dude Lebowski. He gets mistaken for Jeffrey Lebowski, who's the Big Lebowski, and what the title of this movie is really named of. And he gets roughed up in the beginning of the film. They mistake him for the Big Lebowski. They piss on his rug. They smash him. They put his head in the toilet. He goes and sees the Big Lebowski. Then gets offered a job at some point because his wife is kidnapped, and then he has to he's the bag man, and mayhem ensues. He takes John Goodman along with him, who I love John Goodman. I've always been a fan of John Goodman, and in this movie he's no different from the opening scene. He's just hilarious, where he's just got this downward scowl on his face. It's just he
doesn't roll on Shabbos.
No. And his character's not even Jewish, and it's just funny. And this movie, I would have to admit, it passed me by when I was in '98. I was probably maybe 12, 13, around that age. But it's one of those films that definitely grows on you. I think the more times that you watch it, and I've seen it about 2 or 3 times already. Since in its entirety, I've seen it, and twice recently. And
It's interesting you said that because we said a bunch of lines.
Yeah.
I grew up in the era, obviously my parents took us to see, we watched great films.
Yeah.
But, when you fall into the Arnold cult of lifting and bodybuilding, I mean, the whole Rambo and Commando, that whole era, it just, all those films, what do they have? The tagline.
Yeah.
I'll be back, or whatever you have. And all these lines, they just seem to add to the films. And in the Big Lebowski, there's line after line that just, well, at least I'm housebroken, or, the dude abides, or the dude, or it just, when you repeat these lines, it becomes part of culture.
Yeah.
And I wrote on our blog about Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And I sent it to a friend, the gentleman I always talk to you about who knows the music.
Yeah.
And he, right away on his email, he put a one-liner back from the film. When he holds up Terry Garr, and he goes, "What knockers or nightmen he's talking about on the door?" But that type of humor just, it seemed like when I was younger, we just used those lines. Maybe there's too much entertainment now, but we were always throwing lines back and forth, and they were part of our conversation.
Definitely. Now, like, I think at a time when this film came out, if I was going to probably quote, if I could quote any comedic movie at the time, was probably, I would say the most quotable one for me at the time was probably Dumb and Dumber. With my cousins, my people around my age, that was like 95, 96. That
Jim
one I remember.
Carrey, Jim Carrey, and
Jeff Daniels, which is another movie that just still holds up. But it makes me laugh at that whole dream sequence of when he's fighting the sushi chef. he grabs him behind. So I mean, and this movie is it's not along the same lines of, let's say, a Dumb and Dumber, but it's got that stoner humor, that quirky humor, those characters, those cast of characters that just stand out, those memorable, quotable lines. And again, it's a movie that it grows on you the more time you watch it. And I could tell already, like, from having briefly saw it when I was younger to 2 times recently as an adult. I had to absorb it, I had to take it in the first time, and then I could see the second time I was appreciating it even more. And it's definitely one of those films that just grows on you. And then it's such a great film, and it's one of those Coen films that I think. Would you say it's their most revered, aside from most critically acclaimed? Is it one of those most loved?
No, I'm gonna have to say that, like my wife, she's gonna lean toward Fargo, and I think a lot of people are gonna say that Fargo. I mean, they even did the TV show. I mean,
have you seen the TV show?
Yeah,
no, it's so well done.
Everything they do is well done, and it's. I mean, the movie with William it's just Fargo with William Macy and the characters, and it's just, and she's just, McDormand just rocks it, and the relationship with her husband gets a stamp made, right? But it's only the 3-cent stamp, and he's bummed out. But she goes, it's okay, because when they change, the rate, they'll be able to use your stamp every year, once a year or whatever it is. But it's a great movie. I would say that's probably more because it was a commercial success. And anytime you have like we talked the other time, I know in Hollywood there's this big movement about women in Hollywood, but the fact of the matter is, when a woman is the lead, these movies are great. Yeah. And when you have strong women, people go back and watch this. And we talked about Cameron. This lady's tough. I don't know if you saw her last film, the 3 Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri. I mean, that lady, I feel like I'm a pretty tough guy. She can hurt me. And she's just out. And another movie too is with her is Mississippi Burning.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I've seen that one too. I haven't seen that one for quite a while, but yes.
Well, you need to
Yeah.
review it because Gene Hackman, who's one of my favorite actors, he is roaring, and the New York Times says she's the only one in the movie who's keeping pace. And she's just phenomenal.
She's a
And
talented actress. Amazing.
well, and she was found. They met because she was on stage in New York in Uncle Vanya, and that's how she got the read to be in Blood Simple. Then they got married. Now, if that didn't go good, that's a rough marriage. I mean, having only done a few short films, I can't imagine a production of that level being my honeymoon year.
Yeah.
That's some serious stress. But I had a friend who worked on the Buster Scruggs. That's on the short story segments on Netflix. And he's a guy who with them was just a great time, though Ethan was more of the communicator than Joel, at least from his experience. But he liked it and said they were just wonderful. And the prep that he got before even going to the shoot was continually.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that their imprint, and because of the classicity of their work, I mean, if you look at The Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men, Raising Arizona, and they jump all over.
Yeah.
But what we always remember is the characters.
Yes.
Those guys, they nail everything.
That's another thing. Their casting is just amazing. I know they recycle some of their go-tos. They have their go-tos like Frances McDormand and all that, but the casting that they have and these side characters, these small little roles that they will have for just one scene, it's just amazing casting. It's just like the people who they
have you
chose.
ever heard this phrase, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yes.
That supposedly within 6 things you can connect every person in the history. Well, I mean, their movies are pretty much the same thing. If you look at their connections and some of the old people they use that go way back, and they love Hollywood. You know, the guy in The Big Lebowski in the Volkswagen who's the detective?
Yeah.
He's the mob guy in Miller's Crossing. So, I mean, you can see that they love these guys. But a lot of directors, James Cameron uses a lot of the same people. Even on now your TV with this Ryan Murphy. I think Ryan Murphy is incredibly talented.
Yeah.
I think Glee is the great high school show. Mm-hmm. I think the way they did the music, I think that opening pilot. But even as he was making other deals, the end of that got weak.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams, when Lost got so popular, he's doing all these other movies and shows, and it kind of tells at the end.
It does. It doesn't. No, it looks like and they kind of they were kind of just phoning it in towards the end. Now he was doing another show, one of my favorite sci-fi shows, around the same time. He kind of started it halfway through Lost, and it was Fringe.
I did not watch it. Who's in that?
You have Anna Torv. You have Joshua Jackson. You have
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Is it a recommend?
If you like sci-fi, yes. It's more of like it's like X-Files, more of a like scientific leaning X-Files. Not so much the alien side, but more like experiments and corporate experiment. It's like, deep state stuff, that type of thing.
Could you link that to Strange Days? I mean, I know they're different stories, but is it that same kind of feel?
Yeah, Twin Peaks type of thing, X-Files, that type of stuff.
So you like science fiction?
I like it. I like a wide variety of things, and I like I'll dabble in a little bit of everything. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's my go-to though, but yeah.
Well, I've changed. I think my wife has been very blessed, we grew up watching good movies, but then I did have a few years of, the Arnold years were tough for critical success and different things. Yeah. So, but I would have to say, what's the number one type of movie you like? Horror, drama, comedy, biography?
I'll say drama. If I could get a good drama, I'll get a good drama. Yeah, I like comedy. I have to be in the mood. It had to be the right people. I'd have to like and be familiar with their work and maybe you I like indie films. It could be indie rom-coms. It could be indie romantic comedies, romantic dramas, comedies. Um, I don't do indies so much with sci-fi because I think if you're not you'd have to be very creative to get it to get
Well,
it.
especially now, we're real. I mean,
Yeah,
sci-fi back in my age is what we're living.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So now, I mean, what else can happen? We've seen
yeah.
everything, So it's, and I grew up in some of the great sci-fi, obviously Star Wars,
Yeah.
Alien, the Terminators. So all these really built. I mean, Battlestar Galactica was on TV, Star Trek,
Hmm.
that was the big thing. I have to say with drama, but I'd have to say almost melodrama. I like
Okay.
more sad movies.
Okay. Yeah. No. 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 I
Yeah.
feel you on that. I feel you on that. Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I register it better. I
Hmm.
mean, I love to make jokes. I like to write funny things. I like to do all that, but I like the solitude because sad movies put me into the same place. But
Yeah.
comedies, a great comedy has to have that low point, or we're
Yeah.
not going to connect. Like, so give me your. Okay, I know we can't use the word favorite, but comedy. What do you
Comedy?
like? Yeah, just give me a couple comedy movies.
Okay.
We got a few.
I mentioned Dumb and Dumber. That's probably one of my favorites. I go with Old School.
Okay.
We go with one of my favorites. I know you might not be familiar with this, but Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
What?
Jay and Silent Bob is a Kevin Smith character where he's like
Oh, yeah, those were the dudes from
stoner.
the store.
Yeah, the stoner movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're in
No.
Clerks. They got their own movie. I just love that movie. I don't know. That was one of my favorite ones growing up. You have
You're not batting good.
yeah, obviously the Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. I thought that was a great.
I'm writing these down so you're accountable.
Yeah, Wedding Crashers. Um,
Okay, that's 5.
Yeah, I could go on.
What's number 1 for you?
Dumb and Dumber.
Okay.
I said Dumb and Dumber is my all-time favorite.
Obviously, I grew up in a different era. So I'm going to take it all the way back to Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis. Some Like It Hot. It's where the guys see the Chicago Massacre and they dress up like women and play in the woman's band.
Yeah.
It's tongue-in-cheek. It's different, but that was a movie that my parents really liked.
Yeah.
We had to see it. And then, of course, I grew up through the 70s, 60s, 70s.
Okay.
I mean, Mel Brooks carried us.
For me, Mel Brooks. I love Mel Brooks. For me, I think the ones I was exposed to, Spaceballs. My personal favorite, Robin Hood Men in Tights. That's my. I know everybody goes to Spaceballs. Everybody goes to Blazing Saddles. I get it.
I go Young Frankenstein, which I wrote about this morning.
Yeah, I saw it. Yes.
That's one of the films we talked about it earlier. I like that. So he has a few movies there, but so Some Like It Hot. I'm going to go with Young Frankenstein. I'm going to go with Planes, Trains, and Automobile.
Yes, I saw that recently too. Again, yeah, I love that movie.
Yes, and the end of that movie when he finally puts everything together and they realize that John Candy's wife is dead, and I mean, it makes me sad
It's
now.
sad, yeah.
John Hughes, by the way, who did that film and did the Home Alone series, Breakfast Club. I mean, we could talk about that, but I like the punch in the stomach with the comedy. We're living high, but there's a soul, and I mean, there's so many. I mean,
Superbad. I don't know. Maybe closer to my time. Superbad.
No.
I
agree 100%. Superbad was written by Seth Rogen to be in the high school, but didn't get made till after that.
Older.
And I think it's one of the great films.
I was lucky enough to get into.
It's not one of the great films. It's a great comedy that I enjoy, and I always stop and watch when it's on.
I think it's one of the great comedies. I think. I don't know. It is. It's one of those movies that I have to stop, and it's just genius from start to finish. It's like the performances.
I want to be McLovin. I want ID and the punch when they show the punch at the bar. They're drinking.
Yeah. You could go Leslie Nielsen movies. Naked Gun. You go with honestly one of the best comedic actors I think on TV and movies. Charlie Sheen. I think he doesn't get his due.
I just watched Hot Shots DAUX.
Charlie
Part
Sheen.
two.
Charlie Sheen. When he was on a roll, he was on a roll. Everything that guy touched, highest paid actor on TV. Everything that guy touched was
Oh
up.
yeah, you hit it right. Highest. He's
Yeah.
the highest actor on TV.
And then he got too high, and then Tiger Blood
Well,
came in.
Okay, so I mean, there's so many. I mean, Eddie Murphy movies too. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop, that changed. That also changed comedy movies because we see the guy shot through the back of the head in the hallway, and we're like, "What the heck?"
Yep.
And the putting the sausage up the pipe and the whole deal. It's great. And I'd have to say the last great comedy that I watched, The Hangover.
Yeah, I like The Hangover. Yeah.
I think the script is great. There's no links in the script. And it's a movie I also stop at. And what I like about it is, whose movie is that?
I think we talked about this too. I think it's Bradley Cooper's. You would say had the character changing arc in them. Mm-hmm.
He hates his family. He's stealing money from the kids. Remember, to go gambling,
Yeah.
For their class trip.
Yeah.
Some of the words we can't repeat that they yell at one another. But I think the film is just great.
Yeah.
I mean, other ones, I'm not a sequel guy. Please, I don't want to see a sequel unless it's Terminator 2 or Alien 2.
Yeah.
Most of them suck. I don't care. But that first one, I mean, the way it looked, and that dude, that director, he's pretty talented.
Yeah. Now, some side notes. Did you ever watch the sequel to Swingers? It was Made. It's called Made. It's with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau.
Mm-mm.
Oh, you got to watch that movie.
I saw Swingers at the theater when it came out.
So this was a sequel. This is just Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn's characters. It's just them from that movie. They remain friends. It's just the two of them, and they get into some mob stuff, related stuff. It's one of my favorites, one of my personal favorites. I love that movie because
What's it on right now?
What streaming service?
Mm-hmm.
Last time I saw it, I think it was on. It might have been like Amazon. I would have to look it up. You'd have to look, but I thought that's a great one. I think me being a sci-fi fan, I like the old Star Trek, William Shatner era stuff. Galaxy Quest. Have you ever seen Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen?
The movie, yeah. Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver. You got what's his name from Monk? That actor.
Shalhoub.
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub.
I don't know if you watch Monk or anything he's in. That dude steals every scene.
Yeah, so he's great in this movie. You have Alan Rickman.
Oh yeah,
he's genius in this movie. Oh man, he plays kind of like a Spock character, just fed up with acting.
Unfortunately, he's passed away.
I know, man. I was sad.
I mean, I go back to Die Hard.
Yeah,
he's one of the great bad guys, and then of course Snape. Or not, whatever.
Harry Potter.
Potter.
Mm-hmm.
So you turned your son on. Okay, so you're growing up with Star Wars with your son.
Yeah.
My wife, who teaches literature and theater, was really big into Harry Potters, and when the books were coming out, they would dress up and go. So I was brought through seeing that with my daughter. So that would be our connecting film, and that's another series that, oh my gosh, you can turn on anyone.
Yeah.
You're totally entertained. I love it. I mean, so many great little characters that come in and out.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. I would have to say it's probably my favorite kid thing with my daughter. Aladdin with Robin Williams, of course. We watched that a million times.
I'm reading Robin Williams' last biography about him right after he died. It was, I think. Do
you own the book?
I own the book.
Let me read it when you're done, please.
I'll lend it to you.
Because I'd be fascinated to see that.
I have two books for you. I have the Jerry Weintraub book. I can lend it to you now. I finished that already.
Okay, yeah, I'd like that.
Great read. Very it's in his own words. He's speaking. He's talking to you. Very concert promoter to movie producer. The guy.
I saw a documentary about him, and he was produced some of the big movies of Hollywood, dude.
Yeah. So I'll lend you that book. That's a great read right there. A great read. And I'll once I'm done with the Robin Williams a little bit of Robin Williams. He grew up wealthy. His father was a Ford executive.
He's from, because he was lonely, and that's how he invented all those playing by himself and characters.
He had two brothers. He had two half brothers. One around his age, and one that was like in his, he met like when he was already in his 20s and all that. So, but mainly grew up on his own. Dad was traveling a lot.
He grew outside of Chicago, wasn't he? Born outside of Chicago, right?
Moved around a lot, switched schools a lot. I think that's how he developed his humor.
Well, but he also was very he went to Juilliard.
Yeah.
So if you get to Juilliard, you have the stuff.
Talented person.
Who's the youngest person to go to Juilliard? Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer?
Yeah. But yeah, so definitely good stuff. I think we're going to have to spend some time on comedy.
Definitely. Yeah, there's a lot to get to. There's a lot of, we can go through the mini little groups, comedic groups. You have Adam Sandler's group.
Why don't we go ahead?
Ben Stiller.
How about next show? I know we wanted to talk about a movie, but let's handle some comedy genre.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
we'll talk about.
I think the fans. I think people listening will enjoy that. And I know we touched on Big Lebowski. Obviously, we got through a good portion of that. But I mean, you go. This is how we are. We go onto one tangent. We go to another because we love film. We love comedy.
Well, we also like money, but that ain't working.
I know. We're working on that. Yeah,
Big Lebowski.
If you haven't seen
recommended.
Mm-hmm.
We probably didn't explain it at all. Coen brother movies, time to check them out. We're going to be bringing half these people back forever because they're all connected.
Yes.
And the Coen brothers got a new movie. It's been announced. And they're going to do Macbeth with Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand playing Lady Macbeth. And if you're familiar with that, that's a tough lady. She's going to run it all, and that'll be very fascinating. Denzel Washington, we could spend weeks talking about him. I think he's one of the great actors.
Great. So Big Lebowski, definitely give it a watch. It's basically on every platform you can watch it on. It's on. You got Stars Network. You have Hulu.
It's not. I don't think it's on Netflix now.
I don't think it's on. Netflix
was
anymore.
though. It was like.
It was.
There are 2 cycles ago or whatever.
And if you can't buy it, rent it, illegally stream it, whatever you want to do.
No, don't illegally stream it. Because you'll go to jail and there's a chance of going to hell. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And luckily for the artist, I'm too stupid to stream anything. Like I did get this digital camera, one of these little GoPro here's from, but they didn't give me the instructions, So for me to figure that out, how to hook it up to the computer, I might as well be splitting atoms because it's the same math for me. So anyway, on that note, thank you for coming with us and have a great night, man.
All right, you take care.
All right, take care, sir.